Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 2 of the Rotoworld football show from Super Bowl Radio Row in San Francisco, California. You're looking at Pier 39 and some seals, some rather unruly seals. I'm Patrick Daugherty. I'm with Denny Carter, as always. And we are joined off the jump by a very special guest. He is the most interesting man in NBC's world.
Sure.
You may know him as Whale Capper. We know him as our tour guide. He asked us if we've done anything cool in San Francisco yet, and we begged him to tell us what to do.
We said no, and we said, please, just take us around town like you did in New Orleans last year. We did cool stuff with you in New Orleans. We're glad you're here, Drew.
Please take it. Yeah, so it's Drew Dinsick. I don't even know if I've said his name yet. He only has 20 minutes because he's leaving straight from here to go to Italy. That's what the most interesting man in the world does.
Naturally.
As he leaves a radio hit, a podcast hit, to fly directly to Italy. No, but Drew, it is a true great pleasure to have you here. How you doing? Tell us what to do in San Francisco.
Well, I'm doing great. San Francisco is an incredible city to host this type of event, so it's going to be a great week for all involved, I'm sure. And yeah, that Pier 39, Fisherman's Wharf, one of the top highlights, especially if it's a beautiful day like this. We're having, if you didn't already know, it's spectacular weather here. Not always the case in February, but it is just dry and warm and absolutely, bluebird skies out. And yeah, definitely go by Fisherman's Wharf, see Alcatraz, Alcatraz, and the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, just visit Alcatraz. Do not go.
You don't need to go there.
Yeah, do not go to Alcatraz. Are the seals scary, by the way?
No,
I'm a little scared.
They're very off-putting. They're too primordial.
Yeah, they're very aggressive.
Yeah,
the fighting. I don't know.
They're too of the early days of the Earth for me. They're speaking into our great long unknown past, and they frighten me.
I do get terrified. I do a lot of open water swimming here in California, and they do terrify you when you see them underwater, right. Not because they're going to attack you, but because they are food for great white sharks.
Drew not beating the most interesting man in the world allegations. You know, I just go swimming with the seals occasionally.
When I'm surfing.
Yeah. So, by the way, must mention, we're going to be joined by LateRound.com's JJ Zachariason the second half of the show. Talk about a friend of the show. Co-host to some.
Never heard of him.
So that's going to be great. But Drew's here off the jump. Whale Capper. He's our betting expert. He's our gaming expert. He always has skin in the game. He's right most of the time. We're not here to relitigate what happened in 2024 with the Chiefs and 49ers.
No, you're talking about 23.
Yeah, no, it was the 23 season, 24.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think maybe the only time Drew's ever been wrong. We're not here to litigate that, though. We're here to talk about Super Bowl 60. We're having trouble ginning up strong opinions on this so far, Drew. You don't really have, it's not an option for you. You have to come up with strong opinions if you're going to have skin in the game. Yeah. Just right off the bat, I'm wondering, what's your favorite game outcome bet? As in, are you on the Seahawks money line, the Patriots money line, just the Patriots to cover, the Seahawks to cover? What is your favorite game outcome bet?
Yeah, so I guess I'm hopeful that the Patriots can put up as much a fight as the Seals in the opening shot, but I'm not expecting that. So Seahawks to cover, favorite side, and then under right now 45.5 looks about 3 points too high in my opinion.
I'm smashing the under.
Honestly, if the under loses, it's because the Seahawks score 40 by themselves. I'm really trying to find find a way for the Patriots offense to be a factor in this game, and I'm running out.
Totally vindicated.
Gonna already hit you with the timeout on this. Because this is the widely shared opinion down here. The belief that it is. Everyone I talk to is
no.
Everyone I talk to is worried if the Patriots can even compete.
No,
they don't even entertain the possibility the Patriots could win. I'm just a little worried. I'm hoping it's not a blowout at halftime. I got my whole family coming over to the house. And we want something to do.
I hope it's within 3 touchdowns at halftime.
Yeah, and I just view it as talk about a trial by fire. So everyone's talking about the Patriots' regular season schedule. Super soft. They won 14-17 of those games, though. 3 straight elite defenses in the playoffs. They emerge, I was about to say unscathed, somewhat scathed, including a labrum injury for Drake May that I definitely knew about and definitely remember it had happened. But I just view it as true trial by fire for the Patriots. The Seahawks have not faced a defense like New England's in a long time.
Yeah.
Is that not Sam Darnold, as I keep reiterating? People are like, Sam, it's the new Sam. He's turned the page. He led the NFL in turnovers this year. Any concern about Sam versus Mike Vrabel? I'm not trying to make the same old Sam thing, but everyone is so focused on what a tough matchup it is for Drake May and the Patriots. I think they're kind of underplaying what a tough matchup it is for Sam Darnold, which is one reason why I love the under.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And I will own that I am a latecomer to Seahawks as being the potential champions. I was heavy-duty Rams pretty much all season, especially going into that Thursday night game where I thought they were the better team and they were going to clinch home field and it was going to go downhill from there. Ultimately did not, thanks to Charbonnet recovering a two-point conversion in the most improbable play of the entire season that decided so much.
A play that definitely made sense.
Yes, it definitely made sense and decided so much. But I think the doubt about Seattle wasn't entirely doubting Sam Darnold. He's the winningest quarterback now over the last 2 seasons.
Yes.
He's won 30 games for crying out loud.
Which is incredible.
And QB wins are not a thing. It's a team. It's a team
it
performance.
It is when you want it to be, though.
It is when you want.
And in this case, I like it. So now it is.
Amongst those 30 wins, there's plenty of examples of other, the opposing team getting interior pressure on him and turning into a pumpkin. Now, that didn't happen in the NFC Championship game. When he was flushed out of the pocket, he wisely used his mobility, threw the ball away instead of giving up massive negative plays.
His decision-making was great in that game.
If you want to hang your hat on that as like, he's a grown-up now. No more ghosts. We are past those points. Like, okay, fine. But this is a bad matchup for the interior offensive line for Seattle. Period. Like their center and both center and Bradford on the left side, I believe, are liabilities in pass pro. They're going up against Milton Williams and Barmore. These guys are they are legitimately able to to generate quick pressure on the interior, and that is going to be tough, I think, for the Seahawks to overcome, particularly in the early going of this game. Now, can they eventually wear them down to where they get a little bit of kind of momentum and a little bit of just chemistry in the second half and kind of utilize their advantages with speed and with their skill position group? I think yes, and I think they'll be able to pull away in the second half here. If there's any kind of wobble in Drake May, which we've seen a lot of, and if there's any turnovers, then this could get out of hand quick.
I read something recently on the Patriots' ability to disguise coverages. They're good at it. They're very tricky with it, and especially with their defense now healthy, they've actually gotten better with it.
Sure.
That does make me a little nervous on the, bullish Seahawks front, because that's the sort of thing that leads to Sam Darnold making these unbelievably boneheaded throws. That's not really his strength. We talked about it yesterday. Like between the ears is not really where he thrives, and a team that can discover, that can fool the quarterback, I think has an advantage against him, perhaps.
Just everything points to the under. To me, like you said, unless it's a 2-score game, the Patriots in a desperation comeback mode and like a turnover avalanche begins. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm tired of hearing everyone say the same thing. But everyone's saying the same thing because I just don't think you could make a true argument. The Seahawks deserve to be favored.
Sure.
I do think they could lose, but they've earned being 4.5-point favorites. They've been honestly the best team close to all season. The Rams were in the mix for a while before their defense kind of faltered, but it's kind of underrated how wire to wire the Seahawks have gone this year. Mm-hmm. I think it'll be a close game, but they've more than earned their favorite status. So Denny, that's we just set up.
There's definitely an outcome where the highlights of this are played over yakety sacks, and it's just the comedy of errors from both quarterbacks, and that's ultimately the story that people tell. And sometimes those games go over. Yeah. Right? Like if there's defensive scores or short fields, this could get sweaty, and I'm prepared for that. But I think, and maybe I'm just kind of mentally kind of, just preparing for the worst. This has a lot of Patriots Rams vibes, right, where it's like 3-3 going into the fourth quarter, and then finally the Seahawks break through and ultimately win by margin.
I hate the fact that the Patriots can legitimately claim no one believes in us because no one is believing in them.
Well, they're not very good.
You know, Mike Vrabel all week is going to be real surly. I'm sure you're like, well, I guess we don't even have a chance. Right. Do you guys want to go to the game? I guess we could still go to the game.
Yeah.
Like, we'll see what happens. Like, if they're saying we shouldn't even show up.
Yeah, you're going to say, well, it's an honor to be here. Well, it's not an honor to be here. We want to win this thing.
Jenny, prop bets.
We want to talk about prop bets. We talked about it yesterday a little bit. I wanted to ask you about your favorite Seahawks prop bet, and I actually have one I wanted to ask you about real quick, if you don't mind. Total yards, so this is combined rushing and passing, 240, for Sam Darnold, minus 111. Would you go under or over 240 total yards for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, that's a pretty straightforward under look for me.
Yeah.
And it's because there's kind of two game states that fuel that under, right? The game state
Yes.
where the Seahawks are setting them up with short fields fuels that under. A game state where this is not especially competitive in the second half fuels that under. Those two kind of game states together, that's at least 50%. And then you add in the third potential of him just having an off day and not being able to connect with his receivers. And, I think in general, my median pass attempts for him is well below market right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see a lot of outcomes where you have the kind of it's narrow that Seattle is going to be losing in the second half of this one, and Sam Darnold is going to have to throw them back into it.
It would be a tough spot.
It would
for
be a
the
tough spot.
Seahawks,
Yeah.
If that were the case.
The case with Darnold, too, and an over-under on like even attempts or yards, is that comeback mode, it doesn't even necessarily work in his favor on attempts because he could just short-circuit a drive. Like,
Sure.
obvious passing situation, then we have an interception where even comeback mode might not necessarily produce an over.
That's absolutely right.
You cannot take that for granted with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, most of the Seahawks kind of long, sustained drives this year were fueled on the ground.
Yeah.
And, I would challenge anyone to find kind of the game comeback or the game clinching drive by the Seahawks where Sam Darnold had more than 5 pass attempts. There's just not that many of them.
Yeah, I actually noticed something looking at the data. The Seahawks were one of the run-heaviest teams when trailing this year.
Yeah.
So even when they were behind, I looked at behind by 1 point, behind by at least 3 points, and they were still kind of establishing the run. So.
Do you have a
Right
specific Seahawks prop that you're on beyond what Denny asked you about, or is it too early in the week for that? I don't know how any of this works.
I like a fun, if you're going to attack the prop market and you don't have an edge, which I don't. Like my edge is insides for the most part, sometimes totals. I'm not handicapping. I'm not grinding props throughout the regular season, which means when you jump into the pool with the Sharks at the Super Bowl, you usually get bit.
Yeah, right.
But that said, a nice kind of inverse correlated parlay of Rashid Shaheed under receptions and over yards is a fun one. Where he has a stat line of 2 catches for 65 yards or something like that. Feels like it's very possible.
That's a great sicko
and
one.
And you get when you have an inverse correlation like that, the odds get juicy quick.
Yeah, I'm sure. On the Patriots side, as far as prop bets go, I want to throw one at you, and then you can talk about anything you like. Hunter Henry.
Of course, Denny, we got to talk about tight ends.
We got to talk about sicko tight
Yeah.
ends. Hunter Henry, first of all, he's running 85 to 90% of the routes in this offense. The Seahawks giving up the 3rd most receptions per game, at least in the regular season, to tight ends. His prop right now is set at 4 catches, minus 126. I feel like I'd be pretty comfortable with the over. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a lot of mouths to feed is maybe my only reservation on that.
Right.
I think his median is probably pretty close to 4.5, 5. And certainly in a game state where the Patriots are chasing, they're trying to come back, he's going to get a lot of volume. But I think that's just generally I struggle to feel strongly that Josh McDaniels is going to be stubborn about his approach here and come in with a game plan that prioritizes the run at all in the first half here. Seahawks are an all-universe run-stopping defense.
Yes, right.
Maybe the best we've seen in the last 10 years. And McDaniels is not an idiot. I would very much expect that he comes in with the game plan that prioritizes the short pass, tries to get Drake May in rhythm, not to ask him to do anything that's outrageous early in this contest, especially playing with the bum shoulder. So, the idea of Henry getting this by the halftime, it's on the table.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the 2 safety blankets, of course Henry, of course Diggs, and then whatever he wants to do in terms of target distribution to his running backs. I think those are all very likely plan A for McDaniels in this.
Do you have any other Patriots?
Just say any open sea swimming with the seals, Patriots prop bets that you want to put out there.
I think for the most part, there's been some pretty sharp action on Diggs, ironically. Seen a handful of kind of the pro players hit those overs. Seen Henry, obviously.
Right.
Henry, for his anytime touchdown, has gotten annihilated. He's such a high likelihood target when they're in the red zone, if they ever get there. But you know what's a fun one? Exact points scored.
Oh.
0.
Oh, wow.
We've never had a shutout in the Super Bowl,
and
guys.
we never will. It's not starting this week.
You want to guess what the price is?
Yeah, what is it?
50 to 1.
Wow.
50 to 1. I don't know that.
more than
I don't know that I've ever it's one of those things where 10 years, 20 years from now, you're telling gambling stories about the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. You're like, hey, remember the only shutout we've ever had? I had that 50 to 1, right? Like this is the exact kind of stew that could brew that type of outcome
Wow.
because you have the potential for Drake May getting re-injured in this one. Like there could be a Josh Dobbs appearance, guys.
Oof.
Like over 2.5 pass attempts for the Patriots is a fun one. Or just
for
over two
Dobbs?
and a half passers
Oh,
to
passers.
throw a
God.
pass in this game.
Whoa.
That's plus 160.
Whoa.
And honestly, like a trick play gets you there beyond just knocking Drake May out of the game.
Oh, they will have trick plays,
So
won't
yeah,
they?
this is
Oh,
this is the
man.
one where you kind of open up the
Denny,
playbook
when I
for that.
start to think we're like knowing a little bit of like the betting world, when Drew comes on, it reminds me like, wow, you can bet on the number of total Patriots passers.
You got to think about Josh Dobbs.
Of course, of course.
Like
Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne was still in the Patriots. You know, he'd get an attempt.
Yeah.
We can't talk about Super Bowl gaming without talking about Super Bowl MVP.
Sure.
If you're on the Seahawks, stands to reason you'll pick a Seahawk to win the Super Bowl MVP. Who's your favorite?
Yeah.
Is it JSN? Is JSN chalk over Sam
No.
Darnold? Is it Darnold still the chalk?
No, that actually is the advantage play from what I can tell you. The most likely outcome, in my opinion, is this is a Seahawks defense field victory. But that is a very, very difficult pie to kind of square who gets the credit for
Which
because it
safety
is such
is
a
going
team
to
effort.
randomly have a pick six?
Oh my gosh, they're going to share so much credit on that it kind of is a lost cause in my opinion, playing the Seattle defensive players. And then on the offensive side, to me at least, too much is being made of the ability of Christian Gonzalez to lock down JSN. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah.
I'll believe that when I
Not
see
too
it.
worried about that
JSN's
one.
route running is so perfect and
Yeah.
so unbelievable. He will find his moments in this game.
Yeah.
And like, there's absolutely an outcome where the Seahawks, in my opinion, win kind of an ugly one, like 23-3 type of game, and JSN has 2 touchdowns. Actually, you know what? Let's go 23-0. And JSN has 2 touchdowns and 8 catches or something like that,
Yeah.
and that's enough to propel him. Because I will actually have to just tip my hat to Sam Darnold if he has as clean a performance in this game as he did in the NFC Championship game, because of the potential for the interior pressure and because of the moment. Because this is going to be big.
Can I give you a dark horse MVP? All right, on DraftKings Sportsbook, Travion Henderson is listed as plus 7,500 for MVP.
Wow.
We talked with Lawrence yesterday about how his prop is set at 20 yards right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's the kind of guy who
he has a
like
61-yard touchdown.
Maybe he has 6 carries. He busts
Yeah.
2 of them for long touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're cooking with oil at that point with plus 7,500.
I like that one. In fact, once I get back in a betting legal state, I'm going to place that one
You'd be
on my
hammering
DK
that, yeah.
Sports
Yeah.
app.
I don't mind swinging for the fences. The idea that, certainly in a Seahawks win, the idea that the quarterback deserves this much equity is not correct in my opinion.
Yeah, right.
Like, there's too many people who still will doubt Sam Darnold, even in
Yeah.
a Super Bowl
Yes.
win.
Even if
right?
he performs
even
well.
if he performs
Yeah.
well, they will still have their doubts.
They'll still be like, well, let's see
are
if
we
he can win
sure
it
he's
next
good?
year.
Are we sure he's good is going to come up even in a win? Drake May, less doubt that he would be the guy in a Patriots win, but
He'll claim all the credit, even if he has like
Yeah.
3 lost fumbles.
Yeah,
Like,
I have very
Yeah,
mixed
you're right.
feelings about Drake May beyond just the injury, though, because the outstanding quality of play we saw from him this year was compiled against such weak, like literally fatally
Historically.
flawed defenses.
Yeah.
Historically
Yeah.
soft defense, schedule that they turned into a
Sure.
Super Bowl appearance. They are now in the Super Bowl.
Sure.
I did want to mention Josh Dobbs listed at MVP
Oh my God.
plus 12,000. I mean, you have to at least think of it.
It's crazy. That's not even the. Yeah, hey, one of
Get
one,
crazy.
one of my you take some of those shots sometimes, but
Can we get some equity on that one?
It's a bigger than it would for any other backup quarterback in any other moment. Yeah, just because like the chances. Is Drake May going to get sacked in this game?
He is.
Is he going to get sacked early and land on his already injured shoulder?
Possibly.
Will he not even consider checking out of the game?
Yeah.
He will not leave the game.
He's a
Drake
tough
May's
kid.
already the guy
He's a
who
tough
never
kid.
leaves the game.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm certainly intrigued in like what a mobile quarterback would look like against McDonald's defense.
Yeah.
There's certainly a potential for a running quarterback to have some success against the Seattle defense.
Yeah, lots of man coverage.
Yeah.
And that opens up. I mean, we saw that the Broncos play
Yeah.
lots of man, so they have their backs turned,
Yep,
and then
absolutely.
Drake May took advantage of that.
We have time for only one more question. It's going to make a lot of sense. since Drew thinks the Patriots have no chance to win, we might be focusing on stuff other than the game itself. You know, some of the informal markets. You can find this stuff all over the place. Do you have any strong feelings on the anthem or on the Gatorade color?
Well, the hot side on the anthem is the under. It hasn't been rehearsed yet, so this is speculative hot side, which means this is the true the tape eaters. The folks who've been grinding the tape and kind of doing their homework have all come in with high one teens.
Okay.
Wow.
125 is the current number after some pretty aggressive opening over bets, which were,
Well,
are you even studying the tape?
Soft money.
Hold on, the lights are
So
bright
under
even for the
125.
singers. And, maybe they want to savor it.
They
I
want to
guess
stretch that.
There was an erroneous report that he was going to try to do a nod to the Whitney Houston national anthem, which of course was notoriously long.
That'd be the
and
over, yeah.
that fueled some oversteam from some of the fish, if you will, and that's opened up, I think, a pretty solid plus EV bet on the under at 125 right now.
So you're telling me there's a lot of slappies in the anthem market?
Yeah, imagine that.
And
Honestly.
the hot color for Gatorade is orange, but I have no action on that.
Yeah,
'cause
orange
I
is
haven't
plus
heard that.
250.
Yeah.
Yellow/lime or green plus 275. Red, pink plus 750. Blue plus 250. Purple plus 700. I'm hammering purple myself.
We have to reevaluate some things as a society.
We should.
That these exist. We do not have to reevaluate.
I haven't gotten my text message about what the Gatorade color is going to be yet, but when I do, I'll share it with you guys for sure.
Yeah, please do.
Reevaluating that part of American society, not reevaluating Drew Dinsick, truly the best in the business, in my opinion, in the gaming space. We love him so much. We're desperate. We gotta, don't leave, because we're gonna write down, tell us where to go, and then we're probably gonna go there with you. So maybe we don't need to write it down. But Drew at Whalecapper on social media, seriously, so great. A great friend, a great analyst and handicapper. Drew, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Of course, congratulations on another great season, you guys.
Thanks.
And once we'll roll our winnings on Seattle and under right into Team USA over gold medals.
Okay.
Are you guys
All right,
with me?
there we go.
I think we're getting
Yes.
getting into the
absolutely.
teens
America
for sure. We're at
250.
like 12 and a half right now. We're going to cruise past 12 and a half. I'll tell you.
Hashtag America 250. Drew Dinsick, thank you so much. NBC Sports Now is live from San Francisco all week with special guests. Tune in live from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time each Monday through Friday for The Dan Patrick Show. PFT Live, the Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry, Chris Sims Unbuttoned, and The Dan Lebitard Show. NBC Sports Now is a free 24/7 streaming channel. Full details on where to watch are available at NBCSports.com/now. It is now our distinct pleasure to welcome in a friend, an industry luminary, and for some of us, even a podcast co-host, JJ Zachariason, host of the Late Round podcast, founder and CEO of LateRound.com. JJ, it's a true honor. You're one of the biggest names in the space, and yet you still work with Denny.
Amazing.
I know. So I just thought then we'd start you off with a softball. You know, you're a friend. You're a friend of the show. We want to make this easy.
Yeah.
Really easy question. What is Denny's worst all-time take? It's actually the hardest ever question because he has so many to
That's a
choose
tough
from.
one.
What is Denny's worst take?
It would have to be non-football. It's probably something along like the Thanksgiving food takes that he has.
That turkey's not good.
There was a point in time where Denny said that the only thing he cared about from a food standpoint on Thanksgiving wasn't ham, or it was corn.
Corn.
Denny only cared about corn.
Yeah, I got a lot of flack for that.
Corn,
I was right, but
corn is just one of the most disgusting, egregious things I've ever heard someone say.
I also the one about chocolate not being good. I think
Yeah,
that would probably
Don't you say steak isn't good?
steak's not good.
Denny's.
But you also like some of the stuff. This is the thing, guys. Some of the stuff that Denny says, he says because he doesn't want to overindulge himself, right? So he'll say something like donuts are bad, okay? But donuts objectively are not bad. No one
in their right
dislikes
mind
donuts.
could think that.
He just doesn't want to eat a lot of donuts, and he wants to say they're bad so that I don't eat those donuts.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
JJ does know Denny scarily well. He has a window into Denny's psyche that I don't even have yet.
Yeah.
And I need to start calling up JJ. Like, listen, man, I'm trying to break Denny.
I'm struggling.
I'm struggling. Tell me how to fully break Denny. Denny's worst ever take, by the way, to me, still runaway leader in the clubhouse. is that cheese is bad.
Denny, but okay, this is another donut
cheese.
one. This is a donut. This is a donut one again.
I mean,
Denny doesn't want to eat a lot of cheese. Is what this comes down.
Right.
He does.
That's right.
He doesn't want cheese to overtake his diet because it's easy for cheese to overtake your diet.
So
Similarly, if you have a lot of donuts, in the morning, you don't want that to overtake your breakfast meal every day. And so Denny says, this thing is bad. And so I'm just not gonna deal with it, and I'm gonna just say it's bad, so I don't have to eat it and consume it.
If you want to make people mad, you say this: cheese tastes the same. All cheese.
That was honestly
People
Denny,
get so mad.
Yeah,
about
that's because
that.
it's a really bad take.
truly
It's like
horrific
offensive,
take.
on like a religious level for people.
Yeah.
Well, because it is. It's very offensive on a philosophical level. Any thinking person could easily debunk that. So, JJ, you're the guest, but I have a question actually for Denny.
Yeah.
This is a tough one, Denny. I gave JJ a softball. I'm giving you a tough one.
Yeah.
Who's the better co-host, me or JJ?
Right. So for those who might not be familiar, JJ and I have co-hosted Living the Stream since 2012. Lots of episodes, many hundreds of episodes at this point. And I actually knew this question was coming, and so I've thought long and hard about this. I took a walk outside, actually, just thinking, what am I going to say? Am I going to say Rotopad? Am I going to say JJ? I have an answer, and I don't want to hurt any feelings, but I have to go with this. My favorite co-host is Kyle Dvorak, because Kyle, he's hip, he's young, he makes me feel young.
He makes us feel young.
With the Zoomer talk, okay? Yeah. He's my boy. So I'm sorry, it's neither of you.
It's a fair answer.
It's Kyle. It's Kyle.
I love Kyle enough. That's okay.
We love Kyle. Kyle, we miss you.
We do miss you.
We'll talk to you next week. Kyle will have molten level takes ready on the Super Bowl. But no, JJ, talk about a thinking man. You're one of the prime thinking man's analysts in the entire game. You're already thinking about the upcoming season.
Yep.
You have articles going as you kind of assess the fallout from 2025, looking ahead to 2026. Denny will explain it. What we're working on most recently. Asked you a question about it.
So yeah, you mentioned this on the Late Round podcast. You mentioned it with our buddy Matt Harmon. This idea of the wide receiver 2 and the slot receiver sort of going away in fantasy football because of an increased usage in tight ends. Two tight end and even 3 tight end sets are much more common, as you discussed and researched. And this has reduced, snaps, slots, and targets for guys who used to be reliable slot receiver options. So tell us a little bit about your findings and, what it might mean for next season as far as drafting goes.
Yeah, so I did some research, and I think anyone that does fantasy rankings each week realize that wide receiver, you're like, oh, this player's good. And then you get to like wide receiver 9, like that early, right? Yeah. And you're like, every wideout from like wide receiver 10 to wide receiver 35 is the same, right? It's like the same dude.
Yeah, and it used to be there was no difference between like the wide receiver 14 and the wide receiver 32 in like a good way.
Right.
It's like, just pick your poison. They're all producing points. And now, like you said, it's after like the top 7 or 8 alphas. It's like they're all the same, but it's not in a good way. Yeah. And like I feel like I'm drawing names out of a hat. Sorry to.
No. So what I did was I looked at, okay, was this a weird year for scoring at wide receiver based on that just kind of like inclination? And I dug in, and yeah, it was weird, but it's also trending to be this way.
Yeah.
It was the lowest scoring wide receiver season in terms of just raw fantasy points since 2017. And if you look at the percentage of points that wide receivers scored versus the full pie of running back, tight end, and wide receiver, if you just add those 3 together and look at the rate that wide receivers are scoring, it was the lowest since at least 2011. And so I was sitting there and I was saying, well, why would this be happening? Why are wide? And so then I dug in and I saw that like wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 6-ish, they were fine. Like they were not really. I mean, you had Puka Nacua and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and they were all. We didn't draft them necessarily as the top 6 picks in drafts, but the way things finished, those elite wide receivers were still elite. It was really the next group. I mean, if you look at wide receiver 12, wide receiver 18, and every increment of 6, they were lower in terms of fantasy points per game than any other season over the last like 15 years. And so what I realized was this is a top-heavy wide receiver situation right now in fantasy football. Why would that be the case? And so I dug into a lot of stuff, but personnel groupings is one very key component. Now, right now, the NFL is running the ball a lot more. It was actually the lowest pass rate that we've seen since at least 2011 this past year.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So we're seeing a lot more running, and the reason for that, in my opinion, there's a couple reasons. You get defenses that are reacting to the meta, if you will, of the Sean McVay, 11 personnel, spread offenses that he brought to the league. And so defenses then, teams started drafting quicker, smaller guys. They play more defensive backs on the field. And so how does an offense then combat that? They run the ball more, right? And so we're starting to see that happen more and more frequently. And so with that, you also get more or heavier personnel packages, right? So you get more 12, 13 personnel. The crazy thing is that Sean McVay in 2024 and in 2023, 2023 hit the Rams had a 95% rate of running 11 personnel.
All 11.
It was all 11.
Yeah.
And then this year, they're running a lot more 12, 13 personnel. And, sometimes it was because of who they had healthy, right? Because Devontae Adams was out for a little bit and all that kind of stuff. But what we're really seeing is that there's more tight ends on the field at once. And then on top of that, there are these two high safety looks that we're seeing so frequently. And so what does that mean from a quarterback's perspective? Well, they likely can't just throw it deep all the time. And when they're not throwing deep, that means they have to throw it short. Well, if there's a lot of heavy personnel packages, that means those shorter passes are not necessarily going to wide receivers because there's fewer wide receivers on the field. They're going to tight ends, right? And so tight end actually had one of the best seasons that we've seen over the last 15 years.
You could feel that, too.
Yeah, and wide receiver had one of the worst, and I think a lot of that just strictly had to do with the fact that we're seeing so many more tight ends on the field at once.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the Rams just in general. You had 3 tight ends you had to think about with the Rams this year with Parkinson, Ferguson, and Higbee.
Right.
I know Higbee wasn't healthy all season, but I mean, the point is, like, you actually had to really put in some thought of, like, who's running the most routes among these tight ends, and nobody, as far as the receivers go, were running routes except for Adams and Nakua. That was it.
Yeah.
And what you said, like, the data you found, and, like, no one finds the data like JJ. And, like, no one ever even tries to prove your data wrong, and when they do, you immediately, like, just easily smack them down. Like, I've never seen anyone more on top of the data than JJ, like, truly knows what he's talking about. It jibes with what I would say just the eye test, whereas this year, in a good way, I felt like there was very little difference between, like, the tight end 9 and tight end 21.
Yeah.
Where tight end, for the first time in seriously decades, like, felt deep.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes in, like, a second flex spot, you'd find yourself doing the unthinkable, like, I'm going to start a second tight end.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was just a weird year, and it probably won't be a permanent trend, but I felt what you found in the data just setting lineups this year. Like, I'm starting more than one tight end, like a non-trivial amount
And
of
feeling
time.
okay.
Yeah, feeling fine about it.
The thing is, though, about this is that, like, I don't think this is an overnight change that's going to happen because it's impossible. If the theory around this is correct, right? If the idea is, like, yeah, there's more heavy personnel. I mean, there's also, like, we're losing the slot receiver, which intuitively makes sense because if you have more 12 personnel, then you're not going to have slot receivers out there. If you look historically at the number of players who ran a decent amount of routes in general, had decent route shares, like 300 plus route run. So, like, I didn't want to get a guy who only had 70 routes because he's just irrelevant. And players who then had route shares of 50% or more, 60% or more, 70% or more. There were only 3 wide receivers in the league this year who had 300 or more routes run and a 70% slot rate.
Yeah.
Which historically you usually get 11 or 12 of those players.
Right.
And it's just, they're just completely disappearing.
Those are PPR money printers.
Right,
usually.
right. I mean, it's like, what's funny
true,
is that it's
man.
like Khalil Shakir, and that's almost like a default for them because they had no one else to throw to anyway.
Josh Downs?
Yeah,
We're seeing, like, the death of the Pop Douglas.
Yeah. Well, Josh Downs, yes, I think he was on the list, but Josh Downs didn't so only one of the players ended up scoring 10 or more PPR points per game, which was Shakir.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, we're just seeing, back in, and it's really funny too, whenever you look at the percentage of slot targets going to tight ends or wide receivers, slot receiver, like, it's literally a parabola where the peak is in 2017, 2018, when you look at the 3-year rolling average, which is when Sean McVay became head coach, right? And so it all happened, and then it gradually has gone the other direction where now more of those slot targets are going to tight ends. Tight ends, according to Fantasy Points data, when you look at the last 5 years, because they go back about 5 years, when you look at the last 5 years of data, tight ends had their highest first read target share by far this past season.
Man,
and the last season was a little bit, it's just gotten higher and higher basically every year.
Really stupid follow-up, but
awesome.
Receiver fantasy points declining. Has that meant, we know teams are running more, has that correlated with a rise in running back fantasy points, or are these just fantasy points that are disappearing and not being replaced?
A little bit of both. I think that the one thing that people often get wrong from a game theory perspective with this kind of thing is that when a position like let's just take wide receiver. There's only a handful of really good guys now that we feel pretty good about. And we're going to be wrong about some of those players next year. Hopefully we're not. Hopefully JSN's great and Puka's great, whatever. But realistically, when those players are separating themselves more from the rest of the position, they become more valuable, not less valuable.
Wow,
and so
yeah.
people hear that wide receiver is dying and, these wide receiver too. Yeah, I mean, like some of those guys, I would guarantee you when we're looking at ADP in the summer and we look at a 4th round wide receiver versus a 7th round one, we might feel better on the inside and in our bellies about someone getting drafted in the 4th round, but realistically he's probably not going to be that much different than a guy going in the 7th. But what you probably should do is at least lock up one of the elite guys in the early rounds, and then you can pound the running back position, because running back is getting a little bit deeper because of this, because it is more run heavy. But the interesting thing is that in 2017, when wide receiver scoring was lower than what it was this past year, target share was also at its low. So 2017 and 2025 were the 2 lowest target shares for wide receivers. But the difference was in 2017, that target share went to the running back position. Now it's going to the tight end position for the most part. And so running backs actually aren't getting that much volume through the air.
Right.
And so you're still seeing guys separate themselves, especially in PPR formats, being pass catchers, right? So like, it's going to be, I'm basically saying like draft all the positions early, but
get
like
good players.
There are, get good, but like there is going to be a mix, I think, of the elite wide receivers, some elite running backs, and then unfortunately this is all coming up at the same time where it's just like a mix of just like a lot of dudes after that, and it's just going to make the 1st and 2nd round of your fantasy drafts that much more important.
JJ, we love your big picture thoughts on the season. Quickly to end, what are your small picture thoughts on one game, Super Bowl 60? Drew Dinsick was just almost literally giving the Patriots no chance to win.
It made Pat very mad.
It did. What are you expecting the outcome on Sunday, Super Bowl 60?
It's tough, man. I think like on paper and logically, I would agree that it looks really good for Seattle. There's one piece that I think New England might be able to, I think that this game might actually come down to, number one, like of course Sam Darnold needs to not see ghosts, right?
Yes.
So that that's obvious. But I think on the New England side, Drake May's scrambling is going to really come into play and be very, very important here. Seattle gave up the most scrambles in the league this past year, and they also they pressure the quarterback without blitzing, and that's always a recipe for success defensively, especially in the playoffs. Like we see that all the time with these Super Bowl champions. But I think so what that means is that there's going to be coverage back there for Drake May to not be able to necessarily find an open receiver, and so he's going to have to be forced to scramble. I love that matchup at the line for the Seattle defense, but I think Drake May's mobile enough to sort of combat that enough.
Kind of neutralize it.
With that being said, I'm still taking Seattle. But I think the game. I think the game is going to be a little bit closer because, like, New England has like a Hunter Henry or like I think they're going to use Stephon Diggs a lot in the slot. Some of those lower ADOT, like underneath throws are going to be really, really vital in this game. I don't think we're going to see as many chunk plays. They're going to try, but I don't think they're going to be as successful on those chunk plays. But if they come with the right game plan, I think New England can still keep it close, and not. So my final prediction, I have it at 24-20. Which is very chalky, but I think it makes sense.
That involves a Patriots cover. We're getting closer. Someone has now said the Patriots could keep it close and might have a remote chance of winning.
We could get someone on here by the end of the week who says they could win.
Yeah,
we
might even get to. We were the winners today with JJ joining us.
Yes, thank you, JJ.
Drew Dinsick joining us, but JJ at Late Round QB all over social media, lateround.com, iHeartRadio now. JJ's big time. Truly deserved to one of the very best in the business. We thank JJ so much for joining us. We thank Drew for joining us. We thank most of all our listeners. Thank you so much for listening to us from Super Bowl Radio Row. We'll be back on Wednesday.